Most men today aren't weak because they lack opportunity. They're weak because they choose comfort. They choose feelings. They choose blame. And then they wonder, why isn't my life getting any better? Here's the truth. No one ever taught you how to be resilient. No school, no system. Because once you become truly strong, you're no longer easy to control. In this video, I'm exposing 10 brutal truths about resilience that no one talks about. But you need to hear them if you don't want to spend your life drowning in regret. There's no coddling here, just a choice. Keep living the way you've been, or stand up and become the man you were meant to be. Watch until the end. Truth number 10 will flip your entire perspective on life. If you feel the positive energy, don't forget to like this video and share a meaningful comment. People love talking about motivation like it's some magical force that'll push you through tough times. But motivation is the most fragile thing you've ever relied on. It's like a breeze. It shows up after a hype video on YouTube, then disappears the moment your alarm hits 5 a.m. You hit snooze, roll over, and compromise. Motivation gone. What pulls you back into stagnation isn't your circumstances. It's you. Motivation was never strong enough to dig you out of the pit you buried yourself in. Resilience isn't born from inspiration. It's born from something darker, deeper, and more real. Rage at yourself. That moment you realize you're living beneath your own damn standards. That gut punch of shame when you admit you're the one who created this mess. Not society, not your parents, not the system. You're lazy. You run, you excuse. You tell yourself everyone hits low points. But the truth is, you never even climbed. That rage, the screaming voice in your head that knows you're becoming the version of yourself you despise, is what sparks resilience. When you're angry enough to not tolerate one more second of this version of your life, you move. Not to prove anything, to survive the numbness that's been swallowing you whole for years. Men don't become strong because everything goes right. They become strong because they were once so weak, it made them sick. And instead of folding, they got pissed. So pissed they refused to hear one more excuse from themselves. That moment, that's when resilience is born. Not from motivation, from the decision to never again tolerate silent weakness. We live in a society obsessed with being understood. Everyone wants sympathy. Everyone wants others to feel their pain. Sounds noble, but it's the deadliest trap for weak men. You want to be understood? Fine. But understand this. No one really cares. They've got their own problems. And if you're just waiting around for someone to get you before you start living again, you've already filed for failure. Resilient men don't need validation. They don't broadcast their pain. They don't post sob stories. They don't take advice from people who've never conquered a damn thing. They're focused on one thing, results. Not emotions, not empathy, not recognition, just action, outcome, execution. Why? Because in the real world, no one cares how hard you tried, how tired you are, or how broken your past is. All that matters is, did you get it done or not? Either you have results or you have excuses. You don't get both. And the longer you live, the clearer it becomes. The world listens to winners. It ignores the whining of losers. Resilient men understand that. They don't chase sympathy. They don't beg to be seen. They win in silence. They move not to be comforted, but to never bow their head again. They don't ask, do people understand me? They ask, did I deliver? You want to be understood? Then succeed. When you win, all your pain becomes an inspiring story. When you lose, it's just another complaint. The world doesn't need another sob story. It needs one more man who stands tall, even if no one ever understands him. None of us are invincible. Everyone falls. Everyone burns out. Everyone curls up in the dark at some point, wondering how the hell they ended up in this hole. Cowards fall and start telling stories. Stories about childhood, about injustice, about who hurt them, about how unfair the world is, and they keep telling them. Until they believe those stories and never get up again. Resilient men aren't guys who've never fallen. They've messed up, they've failed. They've wandered lost through years filled with self-doubt and shame. But here's the difference. They refuse to stay there. It's okay to be weak. But if you cling to that weakness like it's your identity, you'll die in it. Die in mindset, die in action, die in purpose. Resilience is when you hit the floor, and instead of whining for someone to save you, you clench your fists, grit your teeth, and get up, even when your mind isn't ready, even when your heart is shattered. No one's perfect, but some will use pain to rise, and others will use it to stop. You have to choose. If you accept the label, "I'm just a weak person," you'll spend your entire life defending that identity. You'll reject every challenge, every opportunity, every piece of feedback, because all of it threatens the safe weakness you've wrapped around yourself like a security blanket. Resilient men see weakness as a disease to cure. They don't romanticize it. They don't show it off. They want to overcome it. They know that letting weakness fester one more day is killing the strong version of themselves they could have become. You can fall, but you don't get to stay down. No excuses. No waiting for the world's forgiveness, because the world doesn't care. The world watches, and it always sides with the one who gets back up, not the one lying there telling stories. Resilience is never born in applause. It isn't nurtured by hugs, pep talks, or group hangouts. It grows in silence, in sleepless nights alone, in decisions no one understands and sacrifices no one sees. That's the truth, and it hurts. A resilient man knows his path isn't for the masses. When you choose discipline over ease, reject shallow pleasures, and take on the work most avoid, you're removed from the crowd. Not because you think you're better, but because you're no longer like them. That difference makes people uncomfortable, and you'll be alone. But that's the price of freedom, the cost of owning your life. Don't expect anyone to walk the whole way with you. Most will bail when you no longer match their lazy rhythm. Some will resent you because you've become a mirror showing them the weakness they refuse to face. The rest, they'll just watch, waiting for you to fail, so they can feel better about not trying. If you can't handle being alone, you'll never be strong enough to do something great. Every truly resilient man learns to walk with himself. No complaining, no craving validation. He stares into the emptiness in his mind, his heart, his calendar, and still keeps going. No guide, no applause. Because he knows one thing: if you need someone beside you just to move forward, you'll never go far. Loneliness doesn't kill a strong man. It sharpens him. It turns every quiet second into training. It turns empty space into discipline. And it turns him into someone the crowd will never understand, but will always respect. Stop wasting another day living in weakness and chaos. Subscribe to Stoic Success now to build an unbreakable mindset, master your emotions, and face life like a warrior. Modern people have a strange obsession: avoiding pain at all costs. A little discomfort, pop a pill. Feeling tired, skip the work. Feel like a failure, find something addictive to numb the thought. But what they don't realize is that every time they dodge pain, they're signing a new contract with long-term regret. Resilient men don't run from pain. They choose it. They understand pain's true nature: brief, brutal, but necessary. Training until your muscles feel like they're going to explode. Working until your eyes burn and your brain screams. Standing back up after a brutal fall and moving forward with no one watching. That's the kind of pain they choose, because they know what waits on the other side. Regret. And that never fades. You can choose not to push today. That's fine. But 5 years from now, when you look back, you'll feel a hollow space in your chest. Not because you failed, but because you never truly tried. That's the most sickening feeling a man can ever experience, and by then it's too late to undo it. Pain only lasts in the moment, but regret will ride with you to your grave. A strong man knows, if he can't stomach today's pain, he's authoring tomorrow's disappointment with his own hand. The world doesn't need another guy with potential. It needs men who are willing to bleed for the breakthrough. And if you don't want to be lying on your back at 60, staring at the ceiling and whispering, "If only," then you'd better start learning how to live with pain right now. No whining, no retreating, no begging for it to go easy on you. There's no art in resilience. It's not glamorous, not poetic. It doesn't need inspiration. It's the simplest act repeated over and over. Do the damn work, even when every part of you doesn't want to. Most men live on feelings. They wait to feel ready, clear, motivated before they start. And that's exactly why they never accomplish anything great, because feelings are 5-year-olds. They whine, they flip-flop, and they dodge responsibility. Resilient men are different. They don't wait for permission from their feelings. They command them. Tired? Still show up. Bored? Still finish. Heartbroken? Still keep moving. They don't need to be motivated because they've reprogrammed themselves. Discipline is now instinct. The secret behind those who achieve the extraordinary isn't more time or more talent. It's that they've learned how to ignore the useless internal dialogue and just do the damn task in front of them. Even when their mind is screaming, "I can't take this anymore." That's the only real difference between the man who makes it and the one who stays stuck. In that exact moment when the mind wants to give up, one folds and the other keeps going. No emotion required, just action. Daily. You can't control the weather, the market, or the world. But there's one thing you can always control: whether or not you move when your mind tells you to stop. And that's what separates the man you can trust from the man who lives on moods and dies by temptation. The truth is never easy to hear. It's rough, cold, and often makes you feel worthless. That's why most people turn away. They'll do anything to escape it. Blame, excuses, staying busy, scrolling their phones, packing their calendar with pointless meetings, just to avoid sitting down and facing the fact that they're living a miserable life. The weak always have reasons to justify their failure. I was born poor. I didn't have the resources. No one supported me. I was hurt. Sounds reasonable, but the problem is, the truth doesn't care about your reasons. It only sees results. And no matter how tragic your story sounds, it won't change the fact that you're still standing still. Resilient men don't play that game. They drag the truth into the light, even when it hurts, even when it forces them to confront the darkest parts of who they are. They admit, "I'm lazy, I'm living below my own standards, I'm destroying myself," and then they start fixing it. No comfort needed, no one needs to understand. All they need is the truth and action. You can't change what you won't face. The weak spend their whole life acting in a play they wrote to avoid reality. The strong tear down the stage and rebuild from the ground up. Don't be a victim in your own story. Be the lead, and the first thing you have to do is face the truth you've been running from. The harsh reality is that most men today are weak because they're too soft to handle adversity. They want life to be gentler, fairer, more forgiving. They complain when things get hard. They treat struggle like it's a virus. But they forget one thing: life doesn't get easier. You either get stronger or you break. Resilient men don't wish for the storm to stop. They train to survive it. They don't beg life to go easy on them. They build skills, sharpen their minds, prepare both their body and mindset. Because they know hard times are always coming, and when they do, being surprised isn't an option. If you had to face unemployment, heartbreak, bankruptcy, or illness, what would you do? Sit down and cry? Curse your luck? Go online looking for positive vibes? Or would you grit your teeth, clench your fists, and say, "I've been waiting for this"? That's the difference between a weak man and a warrior. One hopes life gets gentler. The other forges himself into something tougher. No one becomes resilient in comfort. All real strength is forged in the cold of discipline, in isolation, in mind-numbing repetition, in pain that cuts to the bone. You think that's harsh? Maybe. But it's the preparation you need if you want to take control of your life. Want life to feel lighter? Stop dreaming. Get heavier. Don't pray for the weight to disappear. Build stronger shoulders. A resilient man doesn't fear a brutal world because he's made himself into something even more brutal. Emotions give us depth. But for most modern men, they're chains that drag them under. They let their emotions drive their words, their choices, their behavior, and eventually their entire lives. They get angry and explode. They get sad and give up. They get bored and stop. They get scared and retreat. And then they ask why nothing in their life ever moves forward. A resilient man isn't emotionless. He just refuses to let emotion take the wheel. He drives his life with logic, with discipline, with a clear plan. Emotions can ride in the back seat. They can scream, cry, beg to stop, but the car keeps moving. Maturity doesn't come from being in touch with your feelings. It comes from knowing what's right and doing it anyway, even when everything inside you is screaming in protest. That's where the real man is born. When you push emotion aside to do what needs to be done. Not because you want to, not because it feels good, but because it has to be done. You don't need to be a robot, but if you live like an emotional puppet, you'll never build anything that matters. Every strong man was once an emotional boy. The difference is, they learn to master it. They don't surrender to impulse, to insecurity, or to outbursts dressed up as being real. They turn emotion into fuel, not fire, that burns them from the inside. Real freedom begins when you're no longer ruled by every fleeting feeling in your head. That's when you gain control of yourself. And when that happens, nothing and no one can control you again. Here's the fairy tale someone drilled into your head. Some people are born strong. They're just naturally disciplined, cold-blooded, relentless. You don't have that, so you'll never be like them. Sounds reasonable and convenient, because it gives you the perfect excuse to sit on your ass and do nothing. But here's the truth. Resilience is a choice. You choose to wake up early or hit snooze. You choose to walk into the gym or scroll through your phone. You choose to face your fears or avoid them for one more day. Every choice is a brick, and a resilient life is the result of laying down thousands of those bricks, day after day, in silence. No one's born unbreakable. They just refuse to quit when others do. They choose to get back up when lying down would be easier. They choose discipline over quick pleasure, and they do it not because they like it, but because every time they reject the easy route, they step closer to becoming the man they respect. What about you? You can keep hiding behind excuses. You can blame your past, your circumstances, the people who hurt you, or you can look yourself in the mirror and say, starting today, I choose differently. Choose responsibility. Choose confrontation. Choose to fight. Choose to become a man even you would respect. Resilience won't come to you. It demands that you choose it. It pushes you to decide. And if you don't whine when your life keeps belonging to someone else. You don't need permission to be strong. You just need to decide. No one's coming to save you. There's no guide, no miracle. Resilience doesn't fall from the sky. It's a series of brutal choices, repeated in silence, with no spotlight and no audience. Every day, you're either getting weaker or stronger. There is no gray area. You can keep living the same way, keep blaming others, keep waiting for inspiration to pull you out of the pit you dug. Or you can stand the hell up, take the pain, do the work, smash the old version of yourself, and rebuild from the ground up. At that point, you won't need anyone's validation. You won't need to say a word. The results will speak for you. You want respect? Be the kind of man even you look up to. You want change? Don't wait. Start now. No one's doing it for you. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.